Tokyo has one of the most advanced rail transportation systems in the world, with almost 900 train stations serving the greater Tokyo area, spanning 13,500 square kilometers, including over 280 subway stations that cover pretty much every square kilometer of the central city. It often gets praised as being one of the best systems in the world, deservedly so, but to be completely honest, it's not that straightforward to ride, and this is why. The rail network is run by multiple different companies, with the two main subway line operators being Tokyo Metro and Toei Transportation. Every time you transfer from one company's train to another's, you have to exit the platform by scanning your IC card and leaving the subway gates, find the other company's platform, and then re-enter their gates by paying the base fare again. Let's say you're here at Tawaramachi Station, which is part of the Tokyo Metro network, and you want to ride to Kurame Station, part of the Toei subway network. Even though it's only 2 stations away, you have to transfer from Tokyo Metro to Toei Subway. So you'd first pay 180 yen to ride Tokyo Metro's Ginza Line 1 stop to Asakusa Station, leave the platform gates and transfer to the Toei Subway's Asakusa line, re-enter the gates, and pay another 180 yen to ride 1 stop to Kurame Station. A total trip of 360 yen, or 290 yen if you bought a transfer ticket or used the IC card, which gives a 70 yen discount when transferring between Tokyo Metro and Toei subways. That's about the same price as riding across the entire city over 20 minutes from Asakusa Station to Shinjuku Station if you stick with the same company, which also includes a transfer between 2 different subway lines. But they're both run by Toei Subway, so you only pay the base fare once. If you're confused at all, don't worry. The only people who have to think about this consciously are people who don't have smartphones with Google Maps. So not that many people in 2025, because luckily, Google Maps will do all the thinking for you. It shows you how much each route costs, and usually it calculates your trips in the best way possible with a reasonable fare. But it's still good to double check yourself. In this video, we're gonna learn how to master Google Maps to get around Tokyo by rail, and ride all the amazing trains just like a local would. This guide is also applicable to other cities in Japan too, such as Osaka, Fukuoka, and Sapporo, as they all have similar metro systems. So let's get started. First, let's talk about getting from the airport to your accommodation, as this will be different from your average ride because you'll probably have luggage, and I assume you'd want to ride the airport express train or limousine bus, so I'll show those steps first. There are 2 main airports that serve Tokyo: Haneda Airport, which is in central Tokyo, and Narita Airport, located in Chiba, about an hour east away from downtown Tokyo. Let's say I arrive in Narita, the more common airport to arrive at, and I'm heading towards my accommodation, which in my case is located all the way in western Tokyo's Toshima City, not too far from Ikebukuro, a great place to stay by the way. Before we do anything, it's important to know how to pay for transportation. Well, it's technically possible to buy one-way tickets with cash at the machines located at every train station. It's highly recommended to purchase an IC card, like the Suica card or Pasmo card, which are both rechargeable cards that can be bought at the airport or all major subway stations, at the vending machines by the subway gates that are labeled as IC card machines. You can also use these machines to recharge the card with cash only, and you can do it at convenience stores as well. If you want to use your phone to ride the trains, you can use Apple Pay to add a digital Suica card or Pasmo card to your iPhone or watch. And there's the Osaifu Keitai app on Android. But as far as I know, you have to be living in Japan with a Japanese bank account to use it. And with that out of the way, let's look at how to get to our accommodation from the airport. And luckily for me, I don't have a lot of luggage, so I can just allow Google Maps to decide for me how to get to my destination, as I'm confident that no matter how packed the trains are, I should be fine. The train companies typically let you bring up to 2 pieces of luggage with you, and you can even put your bags in the wheelchair or stroller areas if they aren't being used. But trust me here, if you're riding the trains during rush hour between 7:30 and 9:30 a.m. or 5 to 7:30 p.m. with large suitcases, you're gonna be the biggest inconvenience to everyone. So just save yourself the hassle and listen to this advice if you want to avoid these kinds of situations. First, I'd either take the express train called the Skyliner, which has luggage racks, or an airport limousine bus, which also has luggage storage below. And what you choose depends on where you're staying. The Skyliner is the fastest option that goes to both Nippori Station and Keisei Ueno Station. So if your accommodation is close to one of these, then just take the Skyliner there and walk or take a taxi to finish your journey. And I'll show you how to ride the Skyliner in a bit. But if your accommodation is in a different area, like Shinjuku for example, it's probably easier to take the airport limousine bus there if you have a lot of bags. And to take it, just follow the signs to the bus ticket counter at the airport, have your hotel address ready and show it to the staff, and they'll tell you what bus to ride, when to board, and where to ride it. Then you can either walk or take a taxi after you get off the bus. My advice for Haneda Airport is similar, but instead of the Skyliner Express train, you can ride the local Keikyu line or Tokyo Monorail line. So if your accommodation is located near one of its stops, then you'll be fine with luggage, as there are always people riding with it, since they're both linked to the airport. And if you need, you can ride an airport limousine bus as well, which go to a ton of different areas in Tokyo, so I'll link the site in the description if needed. In my case, I don't have a lot of luggage, and it's going to be past rush hour by the time I'm in the city, so I can simply follow the Google Maps recommended directions to save time and money. I'll go over the trip from the airport in full detail, and then show what a regular subway trip within the city looks like after, so you're ready for both scenarios, and hopefully can learn enough to tackle it yourself. First, we open up Google Maps and search for our accommodation's address, hit directions, and then select the public transportation icon. We're given a bunch of different options, with different pricing as well. And before we click anything, you can see at the top here that we can adjust the filters to our preference. So if I prefer either buses or trains, I can click modes and select what I prefer, and I can filter different options such as the best route, fewer transfers, less walking, wheelchair accessible, or lowest cost. And I can even choose a connecting mode if I want to hop on a taxi after I get into the city. But in my opinion, this option isn't that good to use. I normally stick with the best route and just find a route with a reasonable price and fewer transfers, which can be seen here. And in this case, let's go with the first option, the most recommended by default, which is almost twice the price of this other one down here. But I just arrived and I'm tired, so I want to make things as simple as possible. When I click it, we can see all the different transportation methods and transfers we have to do to get there. And it's a lot of steps, so let's cover it in detail. You can see here we are riding the Skyliner at Narita Airport Terminal 2 and 3 station, also known as Station KS41. It's heading in the direction of Keisei Ueno Station, and leaves at 6:43 p.m. The Skyliner is special as it's an airport express train, so the following steps for it can only be used on the Skyliner itself, and not for the other trains. It gives you the option to buy tickets right on your phone, the next departure time, what part of the train you should ride on to transfer to your next train the fastest, how many stops and how long it'll take, as well as what station you'll get off and what time. In our case, we're getting off at Nippori station at 7:22, and it tells us to follow the signs to the south gate after we get off. First, we need to find out where to ride the Skyliner and where to buy our tickets at Narita Airport. As although we can pay for the base fare with the IC card, we still need to buy the express ticket with our reserved seat and all that. The Skyliner is attached to the terminal, so we can just follow the signs in the airport that go to the trains, and more specifically the Keisei line that's labeled KS on the signs. And we'll arrive at the Keisei ticket counter, where we can purchase a ticket from the staff or from the machines right beside the counter. It's also possible to purchase the tickets online, including sites like Klook that offer a bit of a discount. You'll receive a QR code that you can show the staff at the ticket counter or scan it on the ticket machines to receive your ticket. We can see we're going from Narita Airport to Nippori Station. It leaves at 6:40 p.m. We are on train car number 2 and seat 6D. It's time to enter the subway gates by following the signs on the ceiling to the Skyliner. And to use the ticket, just look for this little slot in the front of the gate, which not every gate has, by the way. Feed the ticket in, it'll pass through and come out the other side on top, and make sure to pick it up before heading to the train, as we're gonna need it later. And this is the same as how one-way tickets work, by the way. Now we need to find the platform number, as most train stations in Tokyo have multiple platforms, including here, so it's important to know which one to go to. Typically on Google Maps, it lists the platform number, but in the case of the Skyliner, it doesn't for some reason. So in this case, we must look for the signs, and we found the Skyliner platforms here at numbers 4 and 5. So we walk down the stairs to the platform, and most of the time there are 2 platforms right next to each other, so double check to make sure you're at the right platform. The easiest way to do this is to check the LCD screen and check what platform your train is leaving from. And you can confirm this easily with the train time written on your ticket. You can see here that I have to ride at platform number 5. If it was a regular local train, you could board any train car and be fine. But since the Skyliner is an express train, we have a reserved seat on a specific train car. And to find the train car number, you can look on the floor, the ceiling, or right next to the gates to confirm. We've found car number 2, so we're all ready to board. And when you get inside, there will be luggage storage right next to the entrance. So it's recommended to put your big luggage there. And your smaller items can go overhead the seats. Now it's time to find your seat number. Sit in the right seat, and we're off to Nippori Station. A 39-minute ride from Terminal 2 and 3, and there is free Wi-Fi on the train with A-plug power outlets as well, which are the same as those in North America. All the trains I rode in Tokyo had English announcements, so you can usually tell pretty easily what stop you're at so you know when to get off. But if for some reason they aren't in English, it's best to look at your map on your phone as a backup. Now we've arrived at Nippori Station and we're ready to get off. You can see here it says to follow the signs for the South Gate, walk about 3 minutes, and then we need to ride the Yamanote line heading for Ikebukuro and Shinjuku. It says counterclockwise because the Yamanote line is a loop that goes around downtown Tokyo, which is a great subway line to stay near if you want to explore the city. We have now arrived at Nippori Station and gotten off the train, so it's time to look for the South Gate. This can be done by looking for the yellow signs, usually on the ceiling, that label which gate you're heading to, but sometimes they aren't easy to find. Luckily, I spotted a sign with various subway line symbols written on it. And as you can see, this JY symbol here is the same one as the JY symbol on Google Maps, so I must be going in the right direction. Well, what exactly is this symbol? Well, every train line has its own symbol that the train companies give it. So sometimes when transferring, if you can't find the yellow gate sign or the subway line name written anywhere, this symbol can also be used to find where to go, but use it more like a backup than relying on it. And just so you know, the ones that start with J are usually run by the Japan Rail, or JR company. And other than that, there's basically no consistency at all between the subway companies, as Tokyo Metro and Toei Subway both use the exact same circle with a letter inside, so they can't be distinguished easily. But let's get back to our transfer. So we follow the signs to the Yamanote line and end up at another gate, but this time we're given an unexpected and unique situation. So unique in fact that they actually include instructions on their website how to do it. First, we need to exit the gate of the Skyliner by putting our ticket into the little slot just like we did when we entered it before. And for some weird reason, this gate also leads directly into the JR platforms, instead of exiting the current platform first before transferring, like everywhere else. So we need to have our IC card ready to scan before leaving the gate, as right after we put in our Skyliner ticket into the slot, it'll ask us to scan our IC card or insert another one-way ticket. And there will probably be a big blockade of madness of people who are really confused, as I was for the first time too. So just make sure you have your IC card ready here. And if you don't have one yet, you can buy one at the machines nearby this gate. Now that we're done with that, we can see on Google Maps that we need to find platform 11. As now that we are done with the Skyliner, Google Maps actually lets us know the platform number again. So we look for the platform 11 sign, walk there, and confirm that we are on the right platform heading towards Ikebukuro and Shinjuku by looking at the signs or the LCD screen. And on Google Maps here, it tells us to ride on car number 10 or 8 for the fastest transfer, which we can see written on the ground and on the subway door entrance. Sometimes, just so you know, there are woman-only cars, and it'll be written on the ground just like this, so just make sure you don't accidentally ride on one. And with that out of the way, we can get on the JR Yamanote line and ride 6 stops until Ikebukuro Station. Now we get off the subway, and it says to follow the signs for the South Gate to make our next transfer, which you can see on these yellow signs above. And the next line we ride, the Yurakucho line, is not a JR train, so we need to leave the JR gates first, follow the signs to the Yurakucho line, and scan our IC card again to get into the gates. Then look for platform 4 heading towards Wakoshi, which you can confirm on the sign or the LCD screen, as it's written on Google Maps. And voila, we can now ride the subway 2 stops to our final stop, Senkawa Station. And it tells us to exit the subway station via exit number 3. We get off the train, look for the exit number on the signs that are normally yellow like this, go up the stairs, and scan our IC card one final time to leave the gates. Keep following the signs to the exit, go out the exit, and now we have to walk to our accommodation. And one final tip is to use the Google Live View, which allows you to follow your phone like a car GPS. And it even works on smartwatches, making it really easy to find where you're going without taking out your phone. But I relied on this too much on my first few days and didn't learn the area at all. So I'd recommend looking at the real world as well to get a sense of your surroundings. And there we go. We've made it to our accommodation and gotten through most of the hardest parts of using Google Maps in Tokyo. But as you can see, it's not so easy to learn. And there's a good chance you're still a bit confused after watching that because of all the Skyliner stuff. So let's go somewhere within the city, step by step, kind of like a review, to refresh on what we've learned and help prepare you for your average subway trip in Tokyo. We're gonna do a trip from Senkawa to Sensoji, Tokyo's oldest temple that's been around since the year 645. Also one of the most popular tourist destinations in Tokyo. We start by searching Sensoji on Google Maps and search for public transportation directions. You can see many options pop up, and they're all around an hour. If I were to select now, I'd probably pick this option down here because it's the cheapest and not that much longer than the first one, with a similar amount of transfers and walking. But I picked the first option when I filmed this, so let's follow that one. We open it up and see that we have to first walk to Senkawa Station and enter via exit 3. I can just follow the GPS or use Google's Live View here to make it easy to get there. Then we enter the station, and you see we have to look for the signs for the Yurakucho line, which you can see is 70 meters ahead. I find the gates to enter the platform, scan my IC card to enter, and my next step is to find platform 1. Or I can simply continue following the signs to the Yurakucho line. I go down the stairs, find platform 1, and confirm that the train is heading to Shinkiba like Google Maps says by looking at the signs above and the LCD screen, which will show English as well most of the time if you wait. I could board on car 7 or 10 for the fastest transfer if I want, and here I'm accidentally about to board car 1 on the woman-only car train without knowing. I was about to get on, and a lady on the train threw up an X with her hands, telling me not to ride it. It's okay to make mistakes though, so let's keep going. I ride the train and ride 2 stops to Ikebukuro Station, get off, and it tells me to look for the signs for the South Passage East Gate, heading towards the Yamanote line. I couldn't find the right sign, but I know my next train is a JR train because this little symbol starts with a J, and I found a sign saying the JR lines are straight ahead, so I'm going in the right direction. I scan my IC card to leave the gates, find the JR line platform, and scan it again to get in. And now I'm looking for platform 7 as written on Google Maps. It's written clearly on the ceiling here, so I follow it and go up the stairs. Confirm that it's platform 7, heading towards Ueno and Tokyo. I ride 8 stops to Ueno Station, get off the train, and look for the Shinobazu Gate, as now I'm transferring to the Ginza line. This time I end up finding the right sign, so I scan my IC card out of the JR gates, follow the direction of the Ginza line, then enter the Ginza line gates by scanning it again, walk down to platform 2, confirm it's going to Asakusa from the signs in the LCD screen above, ride 3 stops to Asakusa Station, and I see I need to follow the signs for Sensoji, Azumabashi District Gate, and I have to get out exit 3. So I look for the signs when I get off, scan my IC card at the subway gates for the last time of this trip, and follow the signs to exit 3 to arrive at Sensoji Temple. Hopefully those examples made things a little bit easier to use Google Maps on your journey. And don't worry too much if you don't understand everything perfectly. You'll be making tons of mistakes, but that's the best way to learn. And if you accidentally get sent in the wrong direction, it's easy to make a recovery by searching directions again from your current location, or just backtrack a bit to get back on your route. I apologize in advance that I wasn't organized enough to film a wheelchair accessible version of this guide, but just know that Google Maps will automatically tell you the right exits to go in and out of with elevator access. And as far as I know, the majority of subway stations in Tokyo are wheelchair accessible to a certain extent. There's a great website here called Accessible Japan that I think would be very helpful for people who require mobile aids to travel around. But with that out of the way, let's go over some frequently asked questions that I think would be helpful to many people. Let's start out with the basic manners to follow. We already talked about avoiding rush hour if you have luggage, and if you happen to ride the subway with luggage when it's not rush hour, then you can put your bags in the wheelchair or stroller sections located on certain labeled cars if they aren't being occupied. And number 2, speaking of rush hour, if you have to ride during it, the trains will be absolutely jam-packed. People won't automatically move out of your way to make room for you normally, so sometimes you have to almost slowly force your way on as gently as possible and people will make room. This situation always sucks, But as far as I know, this is the normal thing to do. And number 3 is simple, but you should always line up to board the train and wait for others to get off first before boarding. Number 4, you should also be aware that there are woman-only cars which are labeled on the floor of the train platform, so don't ride on those cars if you aren't a woman. Number 5, every train has priority seats for the elderly, people with disabilities, expecting mothers, and people accompanying a child. And it's best to avoid sitting in these seats if you aren't one of those people. Number 6, if you want to sit down, avoid taking up too much space, and don't spread your legs and shoulders wide to take up space from the person next to you. If you're on the bigger side, then this might be difficult as the seats might be too small for you. And you can argue that you have a right to sit down regardless of body size. But personally, I would stand whenever possible. Number 7, you should avoid talking on the phone while riding, or talking too loudly with the people you're riding with. Just read the room and see how loud it is, and you can match your voice level if you absolutely need to speak, but I generally avoid speaking, especially if it's really quiet. Number 8, you should avoid eating and drinking on trains. Number 9, don't take pictures or videos of other people on the trains. And there are definitely more that I'm missing here, so just observe others and follow as they do. This is always the easiest way to do anything in another country. And don't worry too much. Although Japanese people get this praise for being perfect, they're people too, and even they don't always follow every rule perfectly. So what about the cost? The base fare for subways on Tokyo Metro or Toei Subway is 180 yen or about $1.20 USD, which covers the first 1 to 6 kilometers. And then the max fare for both of them is 330 yen. As we talked about earlier, transferring between lines of the same company is free. And if you switch from one company to another, then you have to pay the base fare again, with a 70 yen discount using an IC card between Tokyo Metro and Toei Subway, and this discount is automatically applied if you buy a transfer ticket at the subway vending machines. The JR lines tend to go further out of the city, so the longer you travel on them, the more expensive it'll be. For example, riding the JR Yamanote line from Shinjuku Station to nearby Ueno Station within the city only costs 210 yen. But if you ride the JR Shonan Shinjuku line about an hour south out of the city to Kamakura Station, it costs 950 yen. The other train companies all have different base fares, which would take way too long to explain, so it's always best just to check Google Maps, as it almost always lists the up-to-date pricing for your trip. There's an unlimited subway ticket called the Tokyo Subway Ticket that can be used on all Tokyo Metro or Toei subway lines and can be bought for the following prices. You can't use it on the JR lines or the other subway company lines, but I think it's worth it if you're planning on riding a lot within the city, as there are enough subway stations from the two companies to get around pretty much anywhere. You can purchase the ticket online, which gives you a QR code that can be used at the ticket vending machines with QR readers at all the major stations. Or you can buy it at the subway station information centers if you bring your passport. And lastly, you might have heard of the JR Pass, which allows you to take unlimited JR trains throughout the country or a specific region for a certain number of days, including access to the Shinkansen bullet trains. And they can be used for the JR local trains as well, such as the JR Yamanote line. If you're planning on traveling around Japan a lot, the JR Pass can be worth it, especially if you keep getting off in different cities along your journey. However, if you're staying within Tokyo, there aren't enough JR lines to get around everywhere, so you'd still have to transfer to other subway lines from different companies here and there. And that does it for tips on how to ride the subways in Tokyo. Before finishing, just know that you'll have to experience it yourself to truly learn everything. You'll make tons of mistakes no matter what, so I just want to make a final recommendation for what to do in that scenario. People in Japan are generally really helpful, but especially in Tokyo, people are a little bit more on the reserve side, so they might not come up to you automatically if you look lost. If you're ever confused about anything, never hesitate to show someone your phone and show them where you're going. I've had some amazing experiences asking locals for directions, and I'm sure you will too. Feel free to ask any further questions in the comments if you need any help with anything, and I'll try my best to answer as many of them as I can. Thank you so much for watching the video, and have a wonderful trip to Tokyo.